Hey everybody, Brian Zane here with my predictions for this Sunday's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Now, as much as we all get tired of them beating it over our heads about the fact it's the most unique and special and different Money in the Bank in history, it's true. And there's a lot about the show I'm really curious to see what they do and how they pull it off and what they execute for some of their matches. And so we're just going to get into the predictions right now, beginning with the four-way match for the SmackDown Tag Titles as the New Day defend against the Lucha House Party, the Forgotten Sons, and the most recent pair of champs, The Miz and John Morrison. I think you can make a good case for almost any team to win this one, except maybe for Miz and Morrison. I think that putting the belts right back on them after they lost them just a few weeks ago seems a bit silly to go that route, especially because the SmackDown Tag Titles right now feel that they've been bouncing around a lot lately in the last month and a half or so, or 2 months, I feel. So maybe not Miz and Morrison, even though them with the belts doing the hey, hey, ho, ho thing again would be entertaining. I could see Lucha House Party pulling a fast one. I mean, they've been around for so long and they've not gotten a whiff of contention. So for them to kind of come out of nowhere and win it would be exciting. I would not be surprised if the Forgotten Sons won this one. What a way to make a big impact so soon after your main roster debut and to win the belts. I mean, it might be a spark that kind of helps. I've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks. They need something to help get them over. And I think maybe moving to SmackDown as opposed to being NXT, because when they were in NXT, they were a 3-person heel stable in a show where the Undisputed Era was the main heel stable and they weren't going to lose their spot to anyone, much less the Forgotten Sons. I think it's more wide open for them when they're on SmackDown, and I think that after toiling away and just kind of doing nothing on NXT in the grand scheme of things, if they were to win the belts right out the gate here on SmackDown, I don't think I would be opposed to that. And so, yeah, I'm just going to shot in the dark and say that they win the belts in this matchup. Elsewhere on SmackDown, Bayley defends the Women's Championship against Tamina, and this whole thing, it felt like it kind of came out of nowhere. Tamina, after having been off TV for months on end, finally comes back in time for WrestleMania, and then she gets the #1 contendership spot here a few weeks after that. And so it was kind of like, yeah, really, Tamina, of all people, to get this spot? It did seem out of place. It's just one of the many times you see someone who's got a losing record or isn't used all that well, suddenly get a title shot for reasons. Because, hey, wins and losses don't matter, am I right? That being said, I was really impressed with how they built up Tamina, especially on the Go Home show. From when she won the #1 contendership to now, I think especially on this Go Home show, where, as I mentioned on SmackDown Review, she kicked out of Bayley's flying elbow drop and beat her clean with a super kick. How often do you see people do that? That made her look really strong. That being said, I don't think this is going to be Tamina's time. I don't think it's ever going to be Tamina's time, sadly. I think Bayley is going to retain probably after some involvement by Sasha Banks. Will Lacey Evans also get involved? Time will tell, but I believe that the Bayley-Sasha dynamic is what's going to put this over the edge and have Bayley win and retain the championship. Braun Strowman will defend the Universal Championship against Bray Wyatt, the Funhouse version, not the Fiend version. It's very important to make that distinction. This is a match where I feel that, along with the Money in the Bank matches, they could really get experimental here, because we saw what they did with the Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania. That was all over the place, and I'm not saying there will be no bumps in this matchup, but I don't think it will be your standard matchup. I mean, for a lot of reasons, because we saw how Bray Wyatt in this iteration wrestled against The Miz several months ago, and so I think we'll see some more of that here with him and Braun. It's not going to be the same thing as if The Fiend is wrestling him, but it's going to be interesting to see how Bray will register Braun's attacks. And I want to see something where they follow up what they did with where Bray was offering the mask to Braun on SmackDown this week. I would love to see some kind of follow-up to that where they put the mask on Braun, he starts tripping out and goes to some alternate dimension or goes into the funhouse all of a sudden or teleports. I think you have a lot of fun with this one and do the kind of cinematic style. Is it going to be as wild and self-referential and a lot of in-jokes as Firefly Funhouse match? Probably not. Not as much material to go off of with that one. But I think they have a lot of potential to have some fun with this one. I think Braun is going to retain. To have him win the belt off Goldberg and to drop it so soon, I don't know if I mean, I'd like to see Bray with the championship again. I think that him losing the belt was a bit premature at Super Showdown. To have him win the belt here, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this one because, I think Braun could retain, but I also think that Bray should keep winning and establish himself as the guy who's killing people. But I think that Braun is someone they really shouldn't be killing of all the people. So I am kind of torn on this one now. I think about it. I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of a coin flip for me. I would probably have to say that Braun will win the match. Yes, that is my choice. Over on the Raw side of things, Drew McIntyre defends the WWE Championship against Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah. I've really been enjoying this build for a couple of reasons. One, I've been really enjoying Seth's promo work as of late. The more he's been getting deeper into the storyline and his character, I think it's really been working for him. Meanwhile, with Drew, and I said this before on the Raw review, I'm taken aback by just how strong they're booking him. How often do you see babyface champions just totally kick ass, like undisputed, just don't let the heels get any rest or any kind of like hope spots. It's just bam, the baby face is just beating ass. And we don't see that very often in this day and age. And so for Drew to have this kind of constant run of dominance since winning the championship, or before that even, but especially in the last few weeks, he's been destroying the Zelina Vega crew, destroying Murphy, getting one over on Seth Rollins on a near constant basis. I don't see that changing this Sunday. I believe Drew is going to retain and keep looking strong for his next challenger, whomever it may be. On we go to the very special and unique Money in the Bank ladder matches taking place on location at WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. I'm really looking forward to seeing just like the presentation of this one. Is it going to be like, we know it's going to be two matches happening simultaneously. Will they be a constant like thread? Will we just seeing like from beginning to end both matches happening, or will we see like the match begin earlier in the show and then we'll keep cutting back to get updates on how they're going to go? I said at the very beginning when they first announced this, and I say it again, I'm very excited and very curious to see what they're going to do, what their presentation is going to be like, how much we'll see the men and women kind of crisscross in certain rooms. I would love to see some maybe not intergender stuff, but I would love to see like just interactions where like the men and the women groups like just kind of pass each other in certain rooms, like, hey, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. You know, that'd be hilarious. I think there's a lot of potential for like excitement and some drama and some humor occasionally in this. I saw in the hype package for when they showed the headquarters, there's some pinball machines in there, and there's a gym, there's weights. I want to see some interaction with that stuff. I want to see them just go crazy with these Money in the Bank matches. So beginning with the women's one, like, what's my pick for that one? I think the obvious choice is Shayna Baszler, because if we saw how she acted in Elimination Chamber, how she just destroyed everyone, I think that we'd see more of the same here, and she gets another shot against Becky Lynch or something. But I mean, that's the fact that it is this multi-person thing and the unknown factor, all these different variables. I think that could also be a way to kind of protect Shayna and keep her from winning this one, and she'll get her time to shine later. Like, I could see that happening as well. So if not Shayna, though, like, who could it be? I don't see anyone really able to make a case for like being the super strong winner. If it's not Shayna, it has to be Asuka or Nia Jax. It has to be someone from Raw. That's kind of the way I see it. I don't see the SmackDown ladies getting a whiff of the thing. Maybe Lacey Evans is a dark horse, but I would see more of like a heel winning the briefcase. So it has to be Nia or Asuka or Shayna in that kind of regard. It keeps going back to those three for me. So I'm just going to go with my gut and say Shayna wins that one. Then we go on to the men's ladder match. There's a few people I've already kind of ruled out as to who I think is going to win this thing. I don't think Otis is going to win by any means. I don't think Rey Mysterio is going to win. I also don't think Aleister Black is going to win. And I think that all comes down to his entrance. I think it's going to be very clunky to have Aleister Black come and do his drawbridge thing where he's also trying to hold a briefcase in his hands. That just would not look comfortable. So I don't think he's going to win either. Basically, to me, it comes down to AJ Styles or King Corbin. The way they've been building up Corbin on SmackDown is very strong, but it's almost too much of a giveaway he's not going to win based on how they booked him on SmackDown this past Friday. AJ, the fact he came in late on Raw as a late entrant, a late person to join the match, to me, I believe he has the best odds to win this thing. I think he could have a good run of being like, I think he's the right kind of character to win the briefcase and to really have a run with it and just rub it in people's faces. It's like, I cheated death. I was buried alive, but now I'm the Money in the Bank winner. You know, no one can touch me. I would love to see that kind of happen. So I think that AJ, the late entry, is going to win the men's ladder match. But those are just my picks, folks. Let me know what you think is going to happen on Sunday in the comments section below, especially what you think is going to happen with the ladder matches. And like I said before, these are the two matches I am most excited about. I think anything can happen in terms of what the path they take to get to the finish, who could win the ladder matches. As long as Brock doesn't show up, I'll be happy. But until then, folks, I'll see you on the other side with my Money in the Bank review Monday morning. I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.
Wregret.